Feedback Friday, weekly series where you ask the questions and I answer them. Here we go. Woody, what do you think went wrong with the Overpowered Classes video? Why do you think people took it so negatively? Now, I've thought about this actually. There's two reasons. One, it's just a tip video. There's a new thing now to hate on people who help new players play well, and I knew that going into it, but I didn't want to be dissuaded from it. I didn't want to, not help new players just because everyone likes it when they suck. People are going to be mad, like, oh, now you're running effective classes. I prefer to run terrible classes and rank up my executioner, but when you run, I don't know, a PDW, for example, it makes my life hard. And I did this sort of initial rant at the start of it saying, like, look, I help new players play well. It's one of the things that I do. I won't be dissuaded from it. I won't stop. And it didn't go very well. There's a couple things I do, like that was one of them, where I think that I'm hitting, the funny bone, and I'm not. Yeah, that's that. I've done it before in PKA twice, where I sort of ranted, like maybe I've literally had 15 or 20,000 comments where people tell me that the audio is coming out of one ear or something like that. Well, with XSplit, you can't fix that during a live stream without shutting down the live stream and starting it up again. So I'll make this decision, like, to... Oh, and by the way, that has other complications, like, losing the camera and stuff like that. So, it's like, wow, I can't fix this during the show. I'm hoping that they could live with maybe my audio coming out of one speaker. And I did this, like, crazy rant where I sort of exaggerated my current frustration level and said, just stop. And... it wasn't funny. And I talked to Chaos Math about it, actually. He said it was hilarious, that he got a big kick out of it, but not everyone who was watching did, and people have re-uploaded it as, this, like, Woody hates his subs things and stuff, and it's like, alright, I guess this joke doesn't work. I've done it kind of twice now, like that little routine where I exaggerate my frustration, and in both cases, everybody thought it was this, like, terrible thing, so won't do that again, I guess. Live and learn. And at the start of this thing, me saying, like, go ahead, complain, I don't care, tell your friends that, I help new players play well, that didn't go over that well. And, sometimes, I think it was like a perfect storm of two things, One, they didn't like the content of the video because they don't want people running strong classes, and two, they didn't like the opening of the video because they didn't like me saying that, I'm going to keep doing it. So, whatever. I don't want to dwell on it too long, but that's what happened. But it's all good, man. Here, I'll dwell on it longer. I think I had 30 unsubs or 34 unsubs in an hour or something like that. And when I saw that, I thought, you know what? This is probably a good thing. If there's people who are so on the fence about being in Team Gamertag that they're going to unsub because of, whatever, 40 seconds of content they didn't like, these are probably the same people who see like a short video and say, oh my god, Woody only uploaded this for the money, or like have these general complaints where they're looking for flaws in me all the time. If those are, like, if you're that guy, then you, oh, gosh, I'm happy for you to find greener pastures. Knock yourself out. It's all good. So yeah, when I saw that I had lost like 30 subs, I thought, oh, this is probably a good thing. These are probably like my worst 30 subs. The 30 subs who click dislike all the time. The 30 subs who look for flaws and point them out in the comments all the time. Like, if you're that guy, then, look, no hard feelings, man, but do your own thing, take off, the rest of us will be here happy. I would much rather you be happy too. No hard feelings, just go. And the fact that some of them left yesterday is outstanding. Who is Heather from your ad placement in Painkiller already? Yeah, so she's my agent. I have a couple agents. I don't even want to list them all. Someday, one of the agents may be so successful that there'll be a single way of working with me. Like, that's the ideal. I think when you work with Tom Cruise, he has one agent and that's that. But in my case, I've got a couple people who feed me offers or potential offers. And Heather works in sales. She has a regular job. She also has like lots of family who work in video games, and she's an avid gamer, and she's watched YouTube videos before, and that's her background. So she's a friend of the family. Like, I think she's my wife's friend's relative, and it was like, hey, would you like to take this on as a side job? Yeah, she gets a slice of the money, and she handles lots of problems. Like, for example, you put that ad on PKA, and thousands of emails are generated, lots of them with just pictures of your penis, and she sorts through those and separates the the jokers who want, like, you know, here, I'll give you $5 if you just mention my channel briefly, from the real businesses who are actually interested in, you know, building like an ongoing relationship with advertising and stuff. So she's a gamer, she's works in sales, and you know, she's one of my agents. So we're trying it out and seeing how it goes. But she's nice. Oh, that's it. My wife is somewhat jealous because she's like really hot, but you know, it's all good. It was my wife's idea. Anyway, let's carry on. Woody, what do you think about the Galaxy S4? So I have the Galaxy S3 and I had been planning to get the S4 forever. And like, in some ways I'm really psyched about it. I'm glad that it's so much faster. I'm glad the screen is bigger. I love the big screen. That's one of the reasons I like the Galaxy S3 right now. The front-facing camera is better, and that's an especially big deal to me because I sometimes use mine for video logs. I was so disappointed that it looked just like the S3. You know, I really wanted them to use higher end building materials. I wanted them to have a more upscale phone and not that cheap plastic back. But I've sort of gotten over that now and thought about the new stuff that it does. And that's a good thing. That whole eye recognition thing totally doesn't work on me. I don't know. Maybe my eyes are weird. But, like, you know, it has this stuff on the S3 where, like, the screen won't go dim if you keep looking at it. And I sit there and stare at it with my eyes wide open. It still doesn't recognize that I'm looking at it. And I don't know what the problem is, but I see all this new eye technology, and I'm like, my S3 hates my eyeballs. I don't know. I turned all that crap off because it was so ineffective. You tell me if you're in the same spot. But I think it's going to be cool, but I'm just not blown away with it. I think it feels just like an Apple product release where, you know, you're totally excited about it, you've been anticipating it, and then when they actually announce it, you're like, well, I guess they did make some progress, but it's not the, you know, world beater that I dreamed it would be. You know, the rumors were better than the phone. Talk about the new DLC, paying for camo, etc. So I don't mind that they come up with DLC. Like, the concept of DLC doesn't bother me. I don't feel entitled to everything that they write in the future to a game. I do really, really mind that if you bought a season pass, you don't get the DLC. That was the deal going into it. I thought I'd pay $50 extra for this game, buying a season pass, and then I'm covered for the rest of the year. I get the DLC. It turns out they've invented a new category of DLC, classes and camos and whatever bullshit they put in their avatars, that suddenly I'm not entitled to. And it's like, what the heck, dude? Like, that was what the season pass does. It gets you this year's DLC. That's like the contract we had. You can't start saying, oh, it gets you some of this year's DLC after you sold it to me. I think it was bullshit, and I'm not happy about it. They did not do their customers right, and you know, I understand profit motive, I understand capitalism. I don't knock a guy for making money. Go get yours, but you know, when you sell something, when we have a contract, you honor that contract. You don't freaking make up new reasons why your current stuff isn't included in that contract. Who's taking MLG Dallas? It's all about Optic, baby. Dude, I love Optic for a couple of reasons. One, I love the guys in it. I love Nate Shop, Big Timer. I love Merc. I love Scumpy. They're all cool guys. I love Rambo when he was on the team. They're all super nice to me. You know, I've met them in real life, and they treat me well, and I appreciate that about them. So that's really cool. Also, when I'm actually at an event, and like I tend to hang out with the Optic guys, Spamanthus, you know, Sam, she's super cool to me too. That's Big Timer's girlfriend. And Optic Hex has always been really... So those are the guys I go for. I also pull for Envious and Ego. Whatever Ego's doing, I hope that he does well too. You know, those are the MLG guys that always, you know, treat me really well. Revan's nice to me. So but you know, there's something about Optic that makes it interesting. They're like the Yankees of MLG, you know, like as soon as the Yankees get knocked out of the playoffs, they just become a little less interesting. You know, everybody cares about their own team and the Yankees, and that to me is how the Optic guys are. Like, you know, whenever you ask, you know, who you want to see in the finals, it's usually I want Optic and Fear, I want Optic and Complexity, I want Optic and this guy or that guy, and Optic and Envy. I like the Envy guys too. They're also real nice to me. But you know, so yeah, I think it's good for MLG when Optic is still around because it's interesting, in the same way that it's good for like baseball when the Yankees are still around. That's my take. Woody, what's your favorite thing about YouTube and what's the worst thing about YouTube? They're the same thing. My favorite thing about YouTube is the relationships. I like the people that I've met. I like the other commentators. I like playing with subs. I like, you know, when someone says Mail Monday, help them in one way or another. Like, that makes me feel really good. My favorite thing about YouTube is the relationships. My least favorite thing about YouTube is also the relationships. You know, I hate it when, like, you know, on the commentator side, maybe I help out a smaller channel and then they change their mind about me. I hate it when you know, maybe I don't help a channel, like I just don't even know them and they hate me for that reason. There's a bunch of guys in that category. I hate it when subscribers like turn on me and say all of a sudden, Woody, you're doing this or that. That's terrible. And so the best thing about YouTube is the relationships. Like, I love the guys that I get along with, and the worst thing about YouTube is the relationships. Everything is so out there and everyone's leveling their opinion about what's good and bad. It can be, you know, it's a lot to live up to. It's a lot of relationships to manage, and you know, I like the people who are easy to get along with, and it's tough to know so many people that are hard to get along with.